This is January 4th, 2025. I am making this video of how I configure my software-defined radio for a friend, a fellow targeted individual from Lithuania. Big shout out to that Lithuanian friend. I didn't ask if he wants me to say his name, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And basically, this software is something I found years ago. I found it online when looking for the widest range radio for the cheapest amount of money. So radio is a very expensive hobby. To pick up these radio frequencies is not easy and it is not cheap. Some of the meters that go into gigahertz, like this one for example, is $350. And it goes from 200 megahertz to 8 gigahertz. So there's a hell of a lot of activity before this and after that, and that's $300. And it also doesn't show what's really there. Like it helps show a lot of it, and it can provide relief for V2K and do, as well as provide scientific evidence from unbiased, calibrated scientific equipment that shows what's happening, that we are hit with extreme levels at times. And it's done as a discreet way to harm people, to harm their health. And it's just something that is a hidden, is from the early 2000s, and even further back, when people that are qualified researchers on this topic, like John Patterson, for example, he was a senior expert at an Austrian or Australian telecommunications company, either a mobile, I think it was a cell phone company. And moral of the story is he determined that these towers are emitting significantly more radiation than what was told to the public, and what the safety standards were based off of. And that was a few generations ago. So with this narrowband technology, it's possible to single out specific people with this radiation, because that's what it is. These are auditory effects of microwave radiation, as James C. Lynn said it in this book. So this is all because of radiation, and hearing V2K is an auditory phenomenon, or an auditory effect of this microwave radiation. So I found this software and this concept through doing my initial research for multiple years, being a targeted person since like 2015, 2016. And then also I heard about this on the Camelot project. There was a special on the Camelot project talking about being targeted. A person went on the show, his name is Terry Gillette, and he talked about using a software-defined radio. Now, he did not show how he did it. He really was vague about it, and I spent a lot of time getting this to this point. So let me move this out of the way a little bit and show you what you do. So right when you open the software, it's going to look something like this. You have to have your microphone running, sound running, for this to work, whether it's on radio mode or on sound card mode. So this is how you determine what you want to listen to. So when you click source, you hit this in the top left corner, you hit these three white lines. You go to source, and then within this box here, you can pick either baseband from sound card or FunCube Dongle Pro Plus. So typically you use this FunCube Dongle Pro Plus with an RTL S.D.R antenna that plugs into your USB port. And by all means, you can go out and grab one of these for about $15 to $25. They're that inexpensive. You can get an antenna, or you can just run it like this without an antenna and it still works. Okay, so you've got that selected as at FunCube Dongle Pro Plus. And once again, you can also do this just off the sound in the area off of baseband from sound card. So one is listening to higher radio frequency, one is listening to lower sound and then going into radio frequency. So the baseband from sound card, you can see and hear infrasound as well as ultrasound that you wouldn't be able to hear or see. And then you can also see abnormal activity and phenomenon that's occurring in the audible human hearing range, which is going from right around here to right around here. So 2K is 20,000 hertz, okay? And going down here, this is right around where the human hearing threshold starts, and if you see activity even closer to 0 and then in the negatives, that's infrasound, and then I believe the other is subvocalized, but I'm not 100% on that. So negative hertz sound is something that is not very easy to find information about. So, okay, so the next step. So once we've set this into, and the same settings will work for baseband from sound card or on FunCube Dongle Pro. So we're in FunCube Dongle Pro here, and here's the thing. You set it in NFM as far as your first step for a demodulation. Okay, you set it in NFM. You're going to want to hit play so you can hear what it sounds like. So I've got a couple filters that are already enabled, and I'm going to unenable them or turn those filters off, and then turn this volume up. So when you have your volume at a little bit more than halfway or higher than that, this is what it's going to sound like, and this is what it's going to look like. Okay. Now, if you have your dialed in the middle here, smack dab in the middle, then it's going to sound a little bit different. So that's something that's important also, is you need to make sure that you are set in snap, set at 1 hertz, and then you need these arrows facing outward, because if you're not facing outward, you're not in free tuning. And if you have your snap set at anything other than 1, you're not going to be hopping every 1 hertz, you're going to be hopping every 10 hertz or every 100 hertz or every 500 hertz. So it's going to be really hard to fine tune that. So now I'm going to go up in this top right corner. I'm going to click the zoom button if you can see it. I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see a little bit closer and what we're picking up here. So I've got this thing right here popped up, and this is called the audio spectrum, FFT audio spectrum. So you see this right here. And what we're seeing right now is we're seeing the audio spectrum have extremely strong activity happening right after, a little bit after 0 hertz, going all the way to 1 kilohertz, going all the way to 2 kilohertz, going all the way to 3 kilohertz. Okay, so the audible hearing threshold of humans goes from right here to right about here. So let me see if I dial this over to the left, if we can get more of just what's audible to humans, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And then now I can also narrow down this bandwidth just a smidge, and then now it's right at about 26 to 27 instead of going into 3K. So now I'm going to turn the sound up a little bit, and I'm going to show you my 2 other favorite filters I use. And you're going to have just about identical activity happening at 82 megahertz or 92 megahertz or 102 megahertz. As long as you stay in NFM band, you're going to have success with this going all the way down to low megahertz, single digit megahertz, and you should have the same activity happening in gigahertz activity also, as long as you use the same type of filters. So now we're set in NFM. The most important 2 filters that I suggest everybody try to use on this would be the audio noise reduction, which is this one right here, the second from the top, audio noise reduction. And I'm going to set this up and enable it, set it on -100, which is the lowest you can set it, and I'm just going to slowly creep this up and listen to the difference. So you hear that changing? And then now look at this. This is starting to show speech form. So that's showing speech form. And guess what? This is in the audible spectrum, audible human hearing spectrum through a radio frequency phenomenon. So now we've got a higher frequency creating an audio spectrum that's audible. So you know what? That seems like it's checking all the boxes to be V2K / subliminal messaging / fray effect, and I'm getting relief at the same time. In addition, this is at the same exact tempo of the communication stream I would be hearing. So let's take it a step further. And how can we make this come in even clearer? So then my next favorite filter that's right here, there's not very many to pick from. After you get a little bit more comfortable with this, you'll realize there's not very many to pick from, and you get more and more comprehension of this every single time you do it. So let's see here, IF noise reduction right here. IF noise reduction. So I'm going to click that. We see it pop over here on the right hand side. It was already popped up because I already had it on. But now I'm going to enable this filter. It's starting at negative 160. Both of these are set in speech narrow, by the way. And now let me dial this up and see how it changes. So there's about 2 layers of V2K right there. So this radio is not creating this. This radio is not creating this. I've got nothing on my desk creating this. This is just coming into the house, constantly being kicked into the house. And that's exactly what's happening to people that are targeted. And additionally, what's happening is we have a constant stream of radio frequency that is hitting our body. And if you grab an antenna like this, or get next to a megaphone like Targeted Justice suggests, you'll hear that electromagnetic phenomenon. And I theorize it's not just because we're full of nano transmitters. I theorize that there is a stream of electrons hitting our bodies 24 hours a day as well. So there's a stream of electrons. Part of that is, yes, communicating with those quantum nanosensors, right? But not only just that, it's also impacting the other parts of our body. And were they doing this before those nanosensors went into the masses? Yes, they absolutely were. So one is not dependent on the other. These are 2 elements of advanced weapon systems that are extremely discrete. So now I want to leave this running all day. I don't want to have this annoying shit on in the background. So I'm going to turn this down to right to the point where I get relief from it, but it's not annoying the hell out of me. And now I can go turn on my TV, listen to my music on Spotify, do whatever the hell I want, and it provides a hell of a lot of relief. And then continuously, constantly, this is moving in at the same exact tempo of the communication harassment that we are all living through. So if this video helped you, please like it. Please share it to somebody that is in need of this information. And if you are growing a platform yourself, just post it on your platform. You don't know who it could help, especially with how the shadow banning is. Every single repost helps a ton. Every single time somebody spreads it to a friend through an email, a text message, just word of mouth, it's all appreciated, and it really does help people. So everybody stay positive. This is really, really helping. I promise and guarantee that it is helping me. And again, I am a victim of this as well. This is what I do for relief. I don't benefit from this. This is all free software. By design, I try to share with people the freest things. And then when things are kind of expensive but help, like this, and then I was told about this from my building biologist who I paid for to come out to my house. He was like, dude, get this. Take a reading of your environment. Try some temporary shielding. If you get reduced numbers, then make that permanent shielding and continue on like that. That's literally the SparkNotes version of what that gentleman told me, who went to school for years to be an expert at building biology, which is not the same thing as SIGINT / modern weapon systems. But when the courts say, hey, go find an expert, an unbiased third party, or we're not going to listen to a damn word you say, well, then you're kind of forced to get that, or a whistleblower that is going to be, you can't go find a whistleblower. You know what I mean? You can't just go in the yellow pages and say, okay, I need a SIGINT whistleblower. So the best thing that we've got at the time is my building biologist. So working with that, moving forward, building on what we've got, creating a steady foundation where we support each other because we know that this is happening.